So with that, let's begin the first panel discussion of the day on the topic Young Generation Shaping Indian Realty Trends. Well, we have our speakers joining us now. Let me now, first of all, introduce our first panel speakers. And first of all, the moderator of this session, Mr. Piyush Gupta, Managing Director, Capital Markets and Investment Services, India for Colliers. Piyush is responsible for developing capital markets business in India and is leading the client acquisition, developing institutional relationships with Indian and global funds, sovereign funds, banks, NBFCs, AIFs for capital marketed businesses. With over 2 decades of experience, Piyush is an industry veteran with proven expertise in real estate investments, asset management, exit strategy, deployment, and business development. So that is our moderator of the session. Let me introduce our speakers of this session. First of all, I welcome Binitha Dalal, founder and managing partner at Mount K Capital and head of fundraising Rustomjee Group. Binitha Dalal oversees the fundraising and the development of the projects for the investing companies, and she has over 17 years of experience in the real estate finance and development fund management industry. She is also the co-convener of the CREDI Youth Wing and managing committee member, CREDI MCHI. Our next panel member, I introduce Mr. Mohit Malhotra, founder and CEO, Neoliv. After 12 years with Godrej Properties and almost 6 years as Managing Director and CEO of Godrej Properties Limited, Mohit has embarked on entrepreneurial journey with formation of India's foremost residential real estate platform, Neoliv. Mohit is known as transformational leader with ability to create and manage scale. Welcome, Mohit. And let me now introduce our next speaker, Parth Mehta, CMD and Chief Mentoring Officer, Paradigm Realty. Parth brings with him over 15 years of management expertise and leadership in the areas of real estate analysis, strategies, valuation, business development, fundraising, corporate sales, and investment with due diligence. He's a seasoned real estate entrepreneur with deal-making acumen in SRA and joint developments. Our next speaker is Pawan Sarda, Chief Growth Officer for the House of Abhinandan Lodha. And Pawan has, for the last 24 years, led integrated marketing and business across retail, housing, FMCG, and e-commerce. Currently, he's leading the growth at the House of Abhinandan Lodha with the mandate of growing the company multi-floored. The last land launch at Ayodhya in collaboration with Shri Amitabh Bachchan grew the quarter number by 4x. This is an extra information I wanted to share. So next speaker for this session, let me introduce Mr. Raheja, Managing Director, Raheja Realty. He's the third generation developer from the family, bringing a modernized approach to the projects. And he has pursued architecture at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago and has worked with some of the many international architects and is leading Raheja Realty with his acumen. Our last and final speaker for this session, let me introduce Mr. Srinivasan Gopalan, Chairman, ArisUnitern Real Estate Solutions Private Limited, and he has more than 25 years of experience, of which over 15 years is in the real estate sector. In his various roles as CEO, COO, and CFO of leading real estate developers in Bangalore and Mumbai, Srinivasan has been at the forefront of leading the real estate development businesses across all asset classes. So this is our panel, and Piyush, let me now hand it over to you to take forward the proceedings.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Sapna, for the lovely introduction. And good afternoon, all. It's so good to see some very great friends on this panel. And with Lord, we have a great relation for many, many years. And I think it's going to be a great interaction over next, I think, so 1 hour. I think we have entrepreneurs, leaders who have kind of revolutionized in last few years across financing, development, redevelopment, land, in various structures, service providers. So I think it's going to be a very, very great interaction. With this, maybe Binitha, we will start with you. And Binitha, remember we've been discussing something what you have already done in last 1 year for many, many years that you want to kind of democratize or revolutionize the entire investment structures, right? And with Mount K Capital, I think so you've already done it. So I think it'll be very great to hear your journey experience of starting this, and it's going to be great to hear, from all perspective.
Thank you so much, Piyush, and very, very kind words. Must say they're only friends on this panel more than anything else. And yes, we've been discussing it for the longest that, the way people look at real estate as a sector and investors look at real estate as a sector needs to kind of change. And that's what we built with Mount K. But I think my journey is I think, a little different. I started off largely in operations, did construction, did a township in Virar with Chandresh Bhai under his guidance and worked on the plans and so on and so forth when I joined. Went through Lehman crisis, and that's when I realized how money is very important for a business like real estate, being heavy capex. And since then, I've only been working on building strong partnerships and building structures where I think all of you guys have contributed to our journey in making them different, and largely value creation structures for making it a win-win. And after our last partnership where Keppel came into the group, and the value that we underwent at that point in time in terms of learnings, in terms of structuring, in terms of partnerships, wanted to kind of grow that in a scale, and that's how we built Mount K. Very happy to see how we've kind of built it. In fact, today was the first project Bhumi Pujan, so I've just come from there, and we've gone on road and we've started off well. Already 50% of the fund is committed. Balance fund should be committed by end of this financial year. And I think it's going to be a journey for us as a group where we are getting into not just construction and development fund as a business, but also in round two going to take it national and kind of, partner with third-party developers and build a platform so that investors get the opportunity to come directly into projects and be with great parties and great counterparties.
Thanks, Binitha, for this. Mohit, would be great to hear your thoughts. After a great successful journey with Gotish Properties, and now starting entrepreneur on Neoliv, you have set up in last over 12 months. How's been your experience, and what would you like to kind of tell the audience about this journey?
Thanks, Piyush. I think it's been an amazing journey. The idea after Gotish Properties was to start up a fund business. And when I saw the fund businesses in India, I saw, a huge gap, especially having been on the developer side and seeing how important it is to control the development. When I conceptualized Neoliv, we set up both the fund business and also a development arm, which will develop on behalf of our funds. As Binitha was highlighting, the idea is to create win-win structures and give opportunity for investors to enjoy the development returns, which typically developers make in the project. Investors typically enter real estate by buying flats. Here, there's an opportunity to come at land stage and enjoy the entire developer margin. So that's the idea. We had a very successful partnership. So Neoliv entered into a partnership with 361. They came in as a strategic investor in our company and also helped raise our capital. So we've already done our first close and are actively now doing deals in the market.
Yeah. And I think there's a follow on, Mohit, and maybe even Binitha, you can also add on. I think this innovation of the structures and forming the platform, developer, investor, and kind of, the development profits going to the investors. Was this or is this the need of the hour? Where, investors want to participate in the overall development profit, and hence, we're kind of evolving, these structures?
I'll ask Binitha to first answer, maybe.
I think, Piyush, very valid question. And I think what Mohit said, we're kind of trying to revolutionize that slightly differently. Capital in this industry has always been an issue. And for the longest, especially after Lehman, when we've kind of grown from from strength to strength as an industry in terms of compliances, in terms of regulation. Uh, So let me just address the elephant out in the room and say that, you know what, people have genuinely not had a great run in terms of investments in real estate in the past, and people have not had great runs with some investments and some structures. What I'm going to kind of cover what Mount K is doing and how it's different. So what Mount K is doing is basically allowing an investor to come in and partner on 10 different assets instead of just buying one asset or one part of a pie with a developer in a single structure. This is a pure equity platform where, because the equity investment is happening and the person is joining in at equity stage or land stage or acquisition stage, the value creation for the investor and the developer at that stage is immense. So I don't think you can put a price to it or by saying sharing of profits or so on and so forth. I think every risk needs its right reward. And if you can structure it well, where a person hedges his risk across 10 different assets in just one, so that you're in different, I would say, life cycles of an asset and different micro markets, you're able to build value with that 1 rupee multifold for him across 10 assets. People have generally shied away from equity partnerships or equity investments in this sector. And regulation across the last 6 years after ILFS has got tightened even more. There are very few players who are there to come in and work with developers on the land stage or equity stage because of the fact that banks have stayed away in a very big way. NBFCs, HFCs are getting tightened in regulation, and very recently RBI has further put out a regulation where even construction funding is going to get expensive because they want to put in a 5% provisioning for anyone who's for any under construction asset, which would kind of take prices up by 1.5% on an average. And this is a discussion paper. So I think capital for this sector is always going to be tighter, will get expensive with time. I don't think it's a situation where someone is paying more, but someone is giving you value by putting their money in it, and you're giving them value by helping them through the journey of earning their return. So I think it's a win-win. I wouldn't really put a number to this equity investment or value, but yes, equity is going to get expensive with time, and capital is going to get more scarce for this sector. So that's how we are looking at it as far as we are concerned.
Thanks.
Hi guys.
Hi, Ram.
How's it going?
Good. Thanks, Ram. Mohit, you would want to add on anything to what Binitha mentioned?
Yeah, our context was slightly different. See, I was setting up a new venture, and for me, the idea, it was a kind of a clean slate to begin with. I think having seen the success which we had in Godrej Properties and the kind of returns we generate as a developer, most of the investors have participated in real estate through the public markets. The private market investments in real estate haven't been very successful, as Binitha highlighted in her comments. And frankly speaking, from 2006 onwards, very limited positive returns have been generated by the sector. After analyzing the entire past performance and what happened, the biggest learning was that you need to control your own developments, and that's where the Neoliv came in. Idea is again, Piyush, to provide the returns which we as developers make and pass it on to the end investors. I think there is a significant opportunity there, and the kind of returns which we generate through equity in real estate is something we have to now demonstrate is possible through the private equity route as well. But I think once we demonstrate that, the capital requirement in this business is immense, and the potential is immense. So that's the whole idea, to democratize in a way. Even the smallest investor can invest 1 crore of rupee and come into the whole development play, the land play. Because otherwise, if you have to invest in land, I don't think an individual investor can invest in land. The ticket size is upwards of 50, 100 odd crores. So even a smallest retail investor can now participate at the land stage and enjoy the whole returns which developers make. So that's the whole novel concept. The only difference in our case is that we very, very specifically want to retain control and are not going to give money to third-party developers.
Okay, yeah, got it. Thanks, Mohit. Maybe we have more some views now on the pure development side. Maybe Parth, I may request you to come in, and I think in last few years, the entire the slum rehab or the redevelopment space, you've been really growing, and how you see this opportunity, and what has been your overall thought as an entrepreneur to grow this part of the business.
Yeah. Hi, Piyush, and hi, everyone. I think lots of friends and ex-colleagues are also here on the panel. So it's always good to catch up with all. So yes, what we felt as an organization and our experience been, I'll break up into two parts, Paradigm 1.0 and 2.0. 1.0 pre-NBFC crisis, COVID and all, a thinly equitized structure used to work. Putting some money on table and relying on totally on sales and advances or private debt was a norm. Not having a sound financial closure, but ho jayega, things will be done, sales will happen, collection will happen, live in a kind of a way in which erstwhile legacy-wise everything used to work in that manner. Now, in the 2.0 era, where we see things that we need to be well capitalized, we've understood that we are not doing a relay race. It's like a marathon race where today, as an organization, we have a team of 300 people. We always talk there, my God, why do we need so many people? Why can't we go low on team bandwidth and strength? But we realize that every domain needs so much of monitoring and micromanaging, whether it is approval, vacating the site, whether it is getting sales done, collections done, having a right design team in place, etc., etc. In that, we realize that it is now totally a well-oiled capital structure and a well-oiled machinery in terms of talent, which has to come in together to do scalable development in Mumbai. Unfortunately, we are not in an area like Bangalore or maybe a Dubai or something where you get your approvals day one and you don't need to worry. You can just go boom, 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 just construct. Every day you come to an office with a new challenge that today I hope you can win through the wind and somewhere just juggle it out. So I feel at the development side, while everything is looking good, macros are in place, this decade looks very, very strong to us. But it has become a play only and only for compliant players, people who understand the importance of financial closure, understanding a balance of if a project is not completed in 3 years or 3.5 years, whatever time you start across, or larger projects, slightly larger time, you don't make any money in the business. Your inefficiency was paying earlier. Now it's not paying. So I think we've, in my journey, I can say specifically the first decade where we, out of 8 projects, 7 projects, we didn't make money. So I can give all the words of wisdom that how you don't make money. But now the 2.0 version, we are trying to put in efforts that we do well in the market, not just reach the finishing line, but it has to tally up with the balance sheet as well. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Parth. Arun, maybe maybe request you to give your thoughts. And you have primarily focused on premium upmarket redevelopment projects, and I think that you are the go-to guys for certain set of redevelopment. How are you kind of positioned your business in the evolving scenario, and what are the kind of areas you see for the future growth?
So first of all, good afternoon, everyone. Nice to see all the known and existing and all our faces that we've been friends for so many years. And also hello to all the people who have not interacted much with. So it's a very interesting time that we're in, building a little bit on what Parth said, the pre-COVID decade, so to say, with all the stuff that happened, was a completely different era and a different type of business that was going on, versus now with even the consumer having a very different mindset when they look at real estate, especially when it comes to luxury real estate. Something that we focus on and something that I can more throw better light on versus any other part of real estate. So the consumer today drives everything. The product, if you do not do your correct R&D and understand what the consumer requirement is for each micro market, you're not going to be able to deliver a successful project. Of course, delivering on time, cycles of 3 years, the things that Parth said, go hand in glove with, irrespective of what type of development. Is it luxury, it is affordable, whether it's mid-income, that is a standard norm. But the differentiator I feel in luxury is the product. It has to be a very, the product is very, very critical and crucial. You can't build anything anywhere. Every area, every micro market is very, very different, especially in the Mumbai MMR region. What is working in one area can 99.9% doesn't work here. It's no one size fits all kind of a concept. Forget area. What is working in one lane doesn't work in another lane. Neighborhoods is a different ball game altogether. So even within this neighborhood, Khar, Bandra, Santa Cruz, Juhu, everything we're doing, every neighborhood has a different requirement, different ticket price, different set of things that is required. So you have to actually truly go into the depth of what that location or that plot requires. And having said that, people in luxury today are moving, and as you must have seen also the wave where suddenly there was, as Parth said, the 2.0 and the 1.0. 1.0, our neighborhood, which is the predominantly in the H West ward, had 5 or 6 buildings under construction. There were 6 buildings under construction, entire H West ward pre-COVID, the year 2019. If someone can take out the stat right now, I don't know what the number is, but it's easily crossed 100. From a market, forget the entire H West. I'll say between Bandra to Santa Cruz, which is literally not even few kilometer radius, there were 5 under construction. We were doing 2 at that point. Having said that, we're also doing over 10, but the overall market from 5 has gone to 100 plus. So there is suddenly this surge of developers entering and trying to do different work. It's great. It's a phenomenal upswing that's happened. Having said that, we have to be very, very, very careful of what we are building, where we are building, because you don't want to go back to that same places where you have all this stock lying and no one's ready to buy.
Yeah, absolutely, Ram. And you rightly mentioned that every second lane between Juhu and Bandra is up for redevelopment. Every lane has 3 developments going on, right?
Yeah.
But I think maybe this, Ram and Parth, both to you, right? Does this worry with so much of supply, kind of coming in, one is price increase or not, but even the absorption, there's too much of supply. Is it not a worry?
So Parth, let me take that first. I'll get to
Yes, sure.
So A plus will go higher and higher. B and C will go lower and lower. I'm very, very clear. If you understand what the location requires and the kind of product that you're making, because A plus is a very, very limited supply in this in these areas, especially in, I think, most of MMR. Every neighborhood you can calculate and say, well, these are the A plus projects, not the A plus developers, A plus projects. So because the product is king at the end of it, right? Even if you're a first-time developer who wants to come in and make a name for himself and compete with the best developers, it's definitely possible. So having said that, what I'm trying to say is that supply-demand ratio is not going to be dependent on excess supply coming in. It's just the what product you're making. If you are ready to build that A plus product in a market which is required for that location, you're not going to lose money because the consumption is there. The requirement to buy real estate is at an all-time high and will continue for definitely the coming years.
Yeah, Parth. Yeah, you may want to add.
Piyush, adding what Ram mentioned, I'll break your first question into again 2 parts. One is, while so many projects are being picked up left, right, center, like you go in one lane, every 2 weeks you'll see a new patra there. I mean, you don't see plots without a patra, you'll see, oh my God, this is the old building, it becomes a history. Oh my God, it's like a monument if it's not gone. Now, in this, I have a slightly different belief, is how many plots people have taken as developers and how many they're able to turn around and break the ground. There are 2 very different things. Signing a project and ability to start construction on the site with a financial closure or being compliant to RERA deadlines are 2 very different ballgames. So while a lot of projects have been taken up, I am a believer not more than 50 to 60% are going to see daylight. because again, it's going to be dependent on how the financial closure works out. Two, currently the projects are being taken where markets are good and there is a stock market euphoria and there is a positive sentiment. But the moment I believe a little bit correction in the market or political uncertainty this year comes, you'll not see so many plots seeing daylight. That is my strong belief. And two, we've witnessed at our level also a lot of developers who've taken projects, they've coming to us for joint ventures or to start collaborating and take it ahead, because people understand that only relying on sales or cash flow by virtue of advances is not going to help them complete the project. One. Now, second part to it, like what Ram mentioned, is of course location, product, and the speed of construction is by far the first three pillars that's going to drive you to ensure that you complete the project by getting better sales. But I've realized everything has become locality specific also. Now, if you see, like we are into spectrum of 1 crore rupees also and upwards of 25 crores also, where majority we are between 1 and 4 crores. What we realized is people don't want to leave specific areas. Now, if you take a certain location of Bandra or in a Kandivali or in a Andheri, certain belts command a astronomical higher arbitrage in terms of sale price that is coming out, because people don't want to move one lane also. They don't want to move a community also. Today, I heard in one of the projects in Oberoi, Garden City, in the Garden City in Goregaon, there's deals happened at 75,000-80,000 rupees carpet also. Now, if you realize a Goregaon 80,000 is not a market, there is adjoining building which is not maybe selling at 30,000 also. So there is a huge disparity in terms of product, community, and the overall preferences of a buyer. So I feel while the supply is going to come, a AAA location and a AAA well-planned product is going to have a premium for sure. And there will always be a velocity that that product is going to attract. While people, if they're getting into even a B+ or B- products or location, I feel those projects will really have some liquidity starvation to complete on time.
Thanks.
I'm just going to add here, Piyush. If you remember, in 2018-19, we constantly said there are about 365 buildings who've come up in Bandra Khas, Santa Cruz for redevelopment, and what's going to happen to the market and so on and so forth. But everything said and done, whether it's stock market or whether it's our current government or the geopolitical issue, we've done great as a country and we've done great as a market, especially the MMR. If you look at Delhi market, you look at Bangalore market, Hyderabad market, they have all been phenomenal in terms of performance and in terms of recovery. Will this good times continue? It will continue. What Parth said in terms of the fact that people may not be able to launch the assets, I think what's going to really shape these assets or these new patras in every by-lane coming up is the acquisition price at which people are taking on projects. It is not even funny where people's underwritings have gone today. It's amazing, and sometimes even I keep wondering that how is someone going to deliver an asset? But just because they want an asset, they go and underwrite it at such an amazing value and give the landowners a great deal. But eventually, from underwriting to actually going to market and then the first realization and then taking it there on and all, there is a sea of change in the way the asset performs. And from now on, even if there's a 10 to 15% correction, everyone's underwriting is going to really and drastically change. So honestly, the key for whether these assets which are getting acquired year on in peak, I would say, pricing is going to be the underwriting matrix of the developer, and honestly, whether that underwriting will culminate to the product actually being built. That's genuinely going to be the definition for it. But honestly, the way I see geopolitical matters as well as interest towards India, there is going to always be a demand side which is going to absorb whatever comes into the market. Whether you take a 1 crore product today or you take a 50 crore product today. In fact, you have more stats than all of us that on an average, a 100 crore product is selling 4 times than what it used to sell earlier.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's something which is going to constantly drive a market. Whoever thought that Bangalore will sell 50 crore plots, but Bangalore is selling 50 crore plots today. So that's what it is. But honestly, what's going to define and create the differentiator and also propel further consolidation is going to be the availability of capital to all these projects.
Yeah, and absolutely, and I think all the right product in the right market, developer right set of people with right structures, I think it's ultimately fulfilling people's aspirations, right? And there, the aspiration is very strong. Hence, whether it's 100 buildings in BKS area or wherever, it's all getting absorbed because people are so aspirational. And same aspiration, maybe, with this Pawan, we can, get you in. And you all are actually fulfilling, people's aspirations to buy land, across, which we had not seen ever in Indian real estate. So what has been, the mantra and thought behind, and how you've been able to do this?
Great. Thank you for inviting me, first of all, and a great panel. I'm already learning so much, right? I'm more of a marketing and sales person, but I think hearing all of you has been very enriching for me. Now, just coming from a land perspective, fundamentally, I think there are some assets, through generation has always had a great value from a consumer lens, right? Whether it's land, whether it's gold, some of these assets people have invested, and they are not consumed just through a generation. It's consumed through multiple generations, right? So I think land has always been closest to Indians, and at heart, I'm assuming it's across the globe. Why just India alone, right? So I think what really worked for us is that making it accessible to begin with, because typically when you think of land, nobody thinks less than an acre in their mind, right? I mean, to begin with, right? So I think what as a company, what we did was just break that and say, you can buy land at square feet. For as a marketing person, as a consumer person, I can tell you that that was the biggest breaking the barrier from a consumer lens. I think that's what we did. Also, if you see from a consumer lens, like what are the key issues of land, right? As long as we are addressing it, we're all about bringing in transparency, bringing in security, some of these things which it really matters to consumer. And then how do you give that assurance has kind of worked for us. And I think thirdly, what we broke as a myth is that land is not about local market, right? A land can be bought anywhere by any customer at any point in time. I think that's what we broke. So somebody sitting in Delhi can buy land in Goa. Somebody sitting in New York can buy a land in let's say Ayodhya, and that's truly happened to us, right? I think breaking the barrier, making really Indian consumer at the globe level, making them our customers, and I think that's essentially has worked for us, if you ask me.
Okay. Thanks, Pawan. Srini, you have seen the industry from, I think so, from the all the sides. You've done a full circle. Today, you are a service provider. You're doing development management. You're a financer. You're managing supply chain, logistics. So, what is the mantra? What is the problem you try to solve?
Srini is all in one, like one-stop solution for everything in life. Even personal problems, you should go to him.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So first of all, good afternoon, all of you. And Piyush, first of all, thank you for inviting me. That remotely also you thought I could be under 40, right? So that's thanks to Tripti, Sapna, and thanks for inviting me. I think a great panel and very young panel that makes me feel younger. So I ensure that I wear a t-shirt and I look a little younger. So coming to the journey, I think I entered real estate along with Layman. Right. So Layman and I go together. Then, so last few years has been great. And the problem that I try to solve is I have seen the pain that a developer goes through. I have always been a professional, though I have been on as a CEO, CFO on the driving seat. What a promoter goes through when he gives this personal guarantee and when he signs those papers, right? I think it's amazing. I would not sleep for one night. Whether it is a 10 crore loan and these guys go up to 5,000, 6,000, 10,000 crores, always being optimistic, right? So I thought I should be that cycle stand to them, saying that we will be together with you. And we said there are always three requirements for a developer. First is money, always there. and management. I think skill sets in this industry is not very great. I think not many professionals would still want to join as a professional. Some of the professionals have entered and become developer like Parth. I remember Parth. I can say I've seen Parth in half pant. Right, he has grown under working with me, and I'm very happy to share the stage with you, Parth. So what we do is we are a service provider to a developer that we try and solve every problem. First is we try and analyze your balance sheet to see whether we are in the right place and find out solutions. And once we find solutions, we don't leave it there just by giving a report. We actually have our own execution team. We have our own sales team. So we strengthen the operations of the company. From our own balance sheet, we provide what you call materials to developers, because many times there are so many cash mismatches, right? You need a 5 crore, teko aaj 10 truck chahiye, so that you can put that slab up. And once you put that slab up, you collect around 20 crores or 30 crores, right? So what we thought was we will bridge that gap. And even for a product like steel, where you generally buy in advance, we actually give a 60 to 90-day credit so that you can fulfill your and complete your project on time. And of course, money, right? We have various sources from where we provide capital. One is we have a platform called Giraffe, where we have truly democratized people participating in real estate, that even with the 50,000 rupees, you can actually participate in an NCD of a developer. We have our own AIF, which is primarily concentrating only on land acquisition and plotted development and villas and farmlands. So these are areas where money availability is not very significant, and there's no depth in this market. And then we have created our own network of family offices of around 250-300 crores, which gives you that maverick buy. So for a developer, there are several problems other than just the location. Of course, he has to go through this entire thing, right? कभी-कभी उसका पेमेंट टाइम पे करने के लिए 24 घंटे के लिए 10 करोड़ चाहिए होता है, right? He just needs it for 24 hours. We provide that. He needs material half an hour prior to what it is required. We provide that, and we provide the entire management to implement it. So the problem that we are trying to solve is we want to be a friend of the developer and be with him throughout the thick and thin, because I have seen most developers going through ups and downs, and hats off to all you promoters who are doing this.
Yeah, thanks, Srini. I think we all spoken about, I think, so a lot of innovation. Which I think so everyone has been trying to do. What is the question is, what is the next round of transformation or innovation which possibly we might like to see, or likely the industry is likely to see in next 5 years time, across maybe marketing, prop tech, financing, even from a development standpoint, construction technology. I think that you guys are the leaders, kind of driving the business to the next level, right? Across different domains. I think maybe we can just touch upon the innovation bit, from each one of you. Maybe, Srini, you can start.
Yeah. So Piyush, let me tell you where all I'm investing the money, right? That tells us what we want to do maybe 3 years down the line. One is we are investing heavily on technology, right? Technology in every aspect. So we have seen, prior to this, I used to run a chemistry-based company in a pharmaceutical department, right? What it used to do is you just put a molecule, and the software used to give us every method to manufacture that molecule, right? We are trying to put some innovation into, once you give a plot, what are all, and you define some of the parameters, because it's so regional. I mean, currently we are working on Bangalore market, it's an easier market. We don't have 33, 9, 10, 11, 14, 17, right? Parth को आप एक land दोगे, उसमें 1 lakh भी बनाएगा, 10 lakh भी बनाएगा, right? So it's not like that in Bangalore. So you put some parameters into it, and it provides you with all the designs, right? And generates the BOQ. So you cut down on your time and spend your time. A promoter should spend in time in identifying land and getting approvals. That's all. Everything else has to be done by professionals or can be outsourced, These two things cannot be outsourced. So that is one area where we are significantly putting our time, energy to operational to see what all we can bring in efficiency in design, efficiency in bringing operations and cutting costs. So this design algorithm also speaks about the construction methodology, because you don't want to do something which cannot be constructed, or which does not meet the parameters of the sales price, etc. The other thing is obviously a CRM, where again on technology we are spending a lot of time. I also believe, Piyush, what is the next step in real estate is real, and that's the only asset class which is real apart from gold, is the service element. I think the more service element that you add, the more differentiator you could be. You look at the people today. My daughter has much more vision than I have. She's 24, right? That's because of the exposure that they get, the access to technology that they get, and also an open-mindedness that these guys have, right? They are willing to pay a little more. आज स्विगी के लिए I think twice. मैं बोलता हूँ यार 50 रुपए डिलीवरी के लिए देना है क्या? But for convenience, these guys are ready to pay, and these are the people who are going to buy your house, right? The more technology that you put in, the more services you put in, and the more convenient you make it for them, I think will get a premium. And apart from, of course, you need to be a good developer, deliver on time. These are just going to be the criteria for even being a developer. So I think service element and technology, these two are going to be significantly important for us to concentrate on.
Sure. Thanks, Srini. Parth, any thoughts from your side on what transformation you're seeing in the industry?
Yes, first of all, thanks for the kind words, Srini. I've been under your wings, and we've seen an organization from 40 people to 400 people, and debt levels from 400 to maybe 12,000 crores. We've seen it all. I mean, together, we've traveled the journey, and I was very happy to be under your wings. And of course, Ram and Binitha, Ram being my childhood friend, it's phenomenal the way he's come up in the redevelopment and the luxury side. And Binitha, who's wings of my mentor and my elder brother Baman, and she ensures that he's afloat and flying always. Another one, Mohit, you've been an inspiration of how professionally you are able to drive a family-run business, and you really inspire a lot of youngsters like us. The way you had scaled up Godrej to where Godrej was, and of course now on your own as an entrepreneur. So of course it's a very interesting panel. On the innovation side, Piyush, I have a slight different view. Now, what is happening? I'll talk specific to the real estate development side. Now, one side, what has happened now? We kind of hand over about 800,000 homes a year. We've been feeling that whatever we try to do, customer is never happy. He always wants dil mange more. I mean, you make a good product, you deliver on time, and today the problem is people who are delivering now, they are facing the problem. People who are delivering on time are facing the problem. And there may be smallest of things. For example, you deliver a home, your switchboard doesn't work, your flush doesn't work, one tile has got a crack, gym equipment doesn't work. Out of 400 flats, even if 2 flats have water coming inside, you made a bad building. I mean, for no fault of ours also. So I am slightly looking at it in a manner that if we want to be in a scalable model across the next decade, we'll have to create system processes and an infrastructure which kind of works in an autopilot, like a FMCG or a kind of a manufacturing market. So I feel that I read a very interesting thing of Mohammad Alabar of Imar. He said one thing that when we hand over an apartment and when there is a complaint, we have a process and an app and a system which there's no intervention required. In 48 hours, that addressal is over and you are done with it. Today, we have post-handover more than 50 people as an organization, as a post-handover team. And still there are inefficiencies in the system. So I feel one very big thing is making a good product and ensuring a product which remains good for a while to come is going to be a big challenge, for which we'll have to create process systems where customer delinquencies, it may be the smallest of things, but it impacts the brand. And two, with social media and the way people have exposure towards all kind of apps, the narrative that is put on the street now can be very misleading for an organization versus the real fact. So I feel how customer handover processes can be improved and product can be, that's one innovation that is required. Two, I'm a believer that, again, there are so many agencies and departments that we are dependent on, various contractors, suppliers, multiple level where construction is concerned. So where that is concerned, how we can standardize minimum intervention where agencies can work more well synchronized as a sequencing of activities is going to be very important. Because today we are running on such a tightrope. If windows don't reach a site on time, OC is delayed 6 months. A lift doesn't reach the site, OC is delayed 4 months. A vendor gets money, he uses the money to pay his bills for another project where a developer is not paying him, but he'll not deliver at my site. So we feel that like today you build a Toyota car, 1,000 cars come out exactly the same way, the way they put in a factory. How we could build a system which can not be exactly like that model, but in a manner where the dependency, because unless the firefighting does not get out, you will never know the importance between priority versus pressure. All of us on this forum are only handling pressure. We are losing the sight of priority for the organization. So if we can all come together or maybe put some systems as individual organization level, where how the delinquencies can be reduced, interaction of engaging extra bandwidth, which is not giving remuneration or extra money to the organization, that can be reduced. I think if these things we are able to put in, we will have a growth which will be less tiresome, less exhaustive, and something which we will enjoy coming to office and going back home, not get burnt out in the process. That's my thought.
Yeah. So I think you got important points, Parth, whether it's on technology, process, and also on sustainability, because we are building assets, and the assets has to last for a long period of time. I think this is more spoken more on the office real estate, but I think the more important that because people live there, right? That the assets become more sustainable. Ram, your thoughts, on the maybe use of technology or transformation, and which would be our key things, possibly, kind of bothers you, from running the business perspective, and how you think, you would want to change that.
So, again, thanks for your kind words, Parth, and it's great to be on this panel with everyone. A lot of great insights. Going ahead, I feel two of very important points that both the previous speakers spoke about was systems and services. Creating proper systems, creating dashboards that actually work for you, like a well-oiled system, is going to be very, very critical for the future of scalability, right? If you're doing 1 or 2 buildings at a time, that's all fine, right? The minute you're growing in space and the minute you're doing more and more projects, creating systems is very, very critical. And if it's not done right, that can be the differentiator between getting something done at the right time. And as we all know, time is money. A project delivered in 3 years or 5 years, it's a 360-degree difference of the rate of return that you're going to make it. So getting things done with the right systems in place, I think, is very, very important and critical for us. In coming to technology, using these dashboards, getting in people to actually create frameworks and getting the firewalls in place, because getting that entire system is great, but if it actually doesn't point out where you're missing out and what you need to actually correct to make sure that your deliveries don't change, or whether you can reduce the delay, is very, very important. So using technology is great, but to actually put that system in place to make sure that that technology affects your delivery is what the critical part is about.
Sure. Thanks, Ram. Mohit, I think we're talking all about residential, whether redevelopment or luxury. How you see other kind of products emerging in next few years time, and if at all we relate more to residential, something like a co-living or a student housing. These kind of products have not grown as much as possibly the industry expected them to be. You think with residential boom which we are seeing and which is likely to continue, even the newer products also, will see, more traction in the coming years?
Thanks, Piyush. Yeah, first of all, it was very enlightening to hear the entire discussion and great learning for me as well. Um, See, I'm a big believer of residential asset class. So I believe that is the asset class which will be it is the 85% of the Indian real estate market and will continue to be the most dominant force. I think this words like co-living and these are uh, student housing. These are small areas which are coming up, but I don't think it is significant in India right now. This opportunity, I think. Um, Residential asset class is the key thing. I actually wanted to comment on the previous aspect on innovation. I was listening to Parth and Ram and hearing them the challenges on scale and scaling up, etc. So I've actually seen when I joined Godrej Properties, we were a 400 crore company in terms of sales. When I left, we were 12,000 crores. Now I've started again from scratch. So seen the whole journey from being a very small company to a very large and starting again. Um, I think innovation in our industry would be about problem solving because most of the innovations come because somebody is trying to solve a problem and then the innovation happens. Uh, I feel at every point right now, there's an opportunity for innovation. Let's start with capital first because that's the starting point of real estate business. You need capital. Um, the structure which Neoliv has come in is an innovation in capital structures. Um, I think there is a massive opportunity uh, for developers to actually form partnerships and work together because there are large companies like Godrej now and who are in a different league. But I always tell the colleagues which I meet that 1+1 in our industry can actually become 11, and I think there's a huge opportunity to leverage everyone's strength. So I think the one innovation is how you look at capital. The other innovation is instead of doing everything on your own, can you leverage and work in partnerships? And of course, the whole element of what Srinivasan spoke about, the service element of real estate is something which people are underestimating. Because as you would start experiencing more and more consumers, you will realize what really is the level of complexity and difficulty we are entering. So I think the innovation, Piyush, is a huge opportunity. And I think it's all about shifting the mindset and being open to new ideas. And then
Sure.
the whole thing changes. But as answering your question, I'm wholly focusing on residential, and that is the business one I really believe in.
Sure. Thanks, Mohit. Pawan, your thoughts, because you've been the overall marketing and sales, and I think that is one area where we continue to see maximum innovation on the prop tech side. So how are you seeing this evolution?
Yeah, in my head there are two things, right? Especially if I look at from a land business, and I'm sure it's going to be true even for real estate per se. There is a lot of investment part which goes in while a consumer buys it, right? Because apart from the end use, there is a large part of investment which a consumer thinks. So in my mind is going to be that how do we extend that and create more participation in the industry, right? Especially at the land side, I can tell you that for the younger customers especially, can you become like a mutual fund, right, for them? And how do you create that, and how does one participate in this, like the way mutual fund has been created? It's just a thought, but I think therefore I think technology plays a big role in terms of how do you bring that, how do you create that access. I think there's a lot of work which can be done around it. Therefore, typically, at least in the land business, why should anybody think that, it should be a second or a third investment? Why not a first investment? I think that's one big question which we are trying to address, and maybe we will do it. That's one part. The other is also about, this is a business where I feel that, I always say we are in this dream, business of selling dreams, right? So how do you bring that dream into reality from a consumer point of view, and how do you showcase that to the consumer, right? And there is a lot of work already happening. So once again, how does technology bring that across for a consumer? Before paying that price, one needs to see it, right? I think we take a lot of help in terms of bringing it across at various level, but what could be the closest to reality, which is vision into reality? How does that translate? I think that's another thing which I continuously think over it, and how do we bring that across? I think these are the two parts from my side which can happen at a very industry level.
Thanks, Pawan. Binitha, you've been part of, I think, a lot of, innovations, whether on financing, development, and you've been actively involved on the prop tech side with Credai. What's your take on the areas of innovation which industry is likely to see?
So very valid point, Piyush. And I think when Baman Uncle took over as the Credai president, the one thing that he said is that the only unknown that's going to hit us in this sector is going to be the tech wave. And that's been the mindset and thought with which we've kind of, as an industry, as well as on the family side, we've kind of gone ahead and we've also co-founded a prop tech fund. So today we are a developer. We run a fund management business, which is in first round working towards Rustomjee projects. We're about 50% committed, and balance 50% will be committed, and about $100 million ESG impact fund. But we also went ahead and created a full-fledged prop tech fund, which is another $100 million, in which we are working with founders and tech companies who are genuinely, when I see them today and I see the way tech is changing the way we do our business, we're doing a virtual conference. We have a full system in terms of apps for our customers to go and use our projects once they get delivered. Very soon you will see people who are doing micromanagement of sites and construction, including material management online. So tech is genuinely changing the way we do it. India and tech in India, the impact is hardly 3%. Globally, a Burj Khalifa was built in 5 years. We struggled to do a 15-story building in that much time nowadays. The biggest change, which is going to change the way this industry works, apart from marketing, like it was covered, apart from design, apart from sustainability, is the way we construct. We haven't yet seen precast, prefab come in and take over the way we construct in terms of reduction of timelines. And we haven't really seen fully created homes coming and getting assembled on site. But that is going to change construction in a very large way and change tech in a very large way. So that's something that's there. But trust me, the tech that is there, so there are about 3,500 prop tech companies in the country today. And only 1,200 of them have got funded or are kind of growing the business. There is still that much depth available for tech to take over the sector and change the way we do our business. As developers, we really don't see the challenges that are coming our way, and we don't really realize how to solve our problems because we love the mundane. We love the fact that someone comes with a problem every morning and he craps on our table and we kind of get in our full Superman mode and solve it. Because we feel that's the value add that we're doing to our business by being a problem solver and doing that on a daily basis. We did a small little conference for the Credai Youth Wing, okay? And we had a gaming expert called Vishal Gondal, who's the founder of Goki, come and talk to us about ChatGPT and how ChatGPT works. In 5 minutes, he designed a project for a micro market, including a DCR of that micro market, created a brand for that project, the logo for the project, the elevation of that project, a brochure of that project, all using ChatGPT. In 5 minutes, he kind of showed developers who sit day in and day out with marketing guys, with architects, with licensing architects, how to use tech to make your life better. And believe me, the designs, the elevation, the way the building looked, the brochure, the logo of the building was really great. And after that, a lot of, we don't really know how much and how to use the tech that's available around us. but it's changing, and I see all of this changing with times to come. In fact, when you do this conference again in a year or two's time, you will see so much change that tech has done to this sector that it's going to be remarkable.
Yeah.
Piyush, on the innovation side, on the development side, one point I forgot to add, which is very important for us to pick our minds and work around it. Srini will relate to this even more. Today, what has happened with the boom in real estate industry, we all are not privy to good grade A quality contractors, quality material suppliers, quality workmanship laborers, and quality bandwidth that is required to deliver and turn around a project. Sale is not a problem. Availability of capital is not a problem. Today, intent is not a problem to do a great building. No, I don't think any developer who's today's market doing business has an intent to make a weak product. But the biggest problem is to get grade A quality in terms of availability of support teams. Now, if innovation, what we are talking, if we can work in a way where across pan India there is so much of boom in real estate, if some kind of technology can come in where we are not aware of the quality providing contractors and material suppliers. We only work with, our purchase guys work with the 10 people who have their comfort they have with. The contractors are only those 5 contractors who do multiple sites for us. We are not having an exposure only to what's happening beyond that. And with so many sites today, for example, if Ram has bandwidth of 5 projects, he's working on 10. I have bandwidth of 4 projects, I'm working on 8. So if today we are scaling up with our own bandwidth, we don't have the same support from quality construction teams. Now, if something can come up where good guys who are potent driven, the way we are so driven, you can call so under 40 entrepreneurs or professionals. There are so many whom we are not aware of, are people who are having that kind of expertise, know-how, bandwidth, capability, but they're not getting an exposure or a platform. If that kind of Alibaba or Amazon kind of platform can be created, well, look, our 2 guys in purchase are sitting, our 2 guys in contract are sitting, an open tendering system is done, and the best guy gets the business. The work overall for the industry, the worthiness of the industry will improve, quality will improve, timelines will go up, and we'll be giving so much of, there will be more, not a consolidation at limited players, it will be kind of an open market in true sense. Yeah.
I think Parth, you got a very relevant and important point on the, on the bandwidth, management bandwidth, right? I think an individual can maybe execute 4, 5, 7 projects at any given point of time, and real estate has always, been a challenge to, kind of attract, talent, a good talent, right? Hence, but the entrepreneurs like all on this panel today are kind of driving this in industry, to the next level, including you, Srini, with this under 40 conference.
Srini is the youngest on this panel, both at heart and in health. Trust me.
So I think in the last round of sorry.
I just want to add to your earlier question in terms of the alternate asset classes, whether you call co-living and so on and so forth. India as a market, like you know more than all of us, are the earnings on such asset in terms of a return or in terms of how most investors look at REITs and look at the return that you get on these investments. For residential, it's still a challenge with the interest rates being where they are. Your net earnings is always going to be negative for a residential asset. It's going into rental incomes. That needs to change largely, where investors' expectation has to be slightly different for this asset class to take up. But contrary to that, I must tell you that senior living, student housing, co-living, while we may not see that in a decade or so, will be an extremely large part of the residential sector, because the next gen which is coming in, apart from just being in homes, they are very, very open to such structures in their life, and education coming into the country in a big way is going to create huge homes and huge need for student housing in select parts of the country. So that will be a sector that will come up.
Yeah. Thanks.
Piyush, just a last note on what Parth said.
Yeah.
So basically, resources and maneuvering the resources is key for a real estate company. And that's exactly what our company ArisUnitern does, right? So we have a tech platform through artificial intelligence Parth. You will know from where to buy, whom to buy, fastest to reach, and the best, and how is he performing with other developers as well. So that is a tech platform that we have built and it's working. Last year we did a turnover of around 750 crores. On the technical side, to get more good talent is one more service that ArisUnitern provides. So this is something which I'm sure, which is why I said that I'm a developer's delight. What our company. And this is something which we need to partner with more and more developers and see how this can be optimized.
Yeah. Thanks, Srini. And I think, since we have last few minutes, I think so. And only one last question, maybe, everyone can just take maybe 10 seconds to answer. How do we attract talent to this industry? How do we encourage entrepreneurs, whether we talk about, people coming in, joining or becoming entrepreneurs to solve some part of the business? A quick, 10-second answer, I think that will be very helpful. Then we can take one last, a question from the audience. Srini, maybe you can start.
So I think transparency and corporate governance, right? I think when I was from the pharmaceutical industry and I got an offer from Bhatwa, I always had a feeling in mind that developer bola to Dawood hai. This is the impression, right? So I think that has changed a lot. Obviously, it's changed a lot now. And with all these regulations coming in place, Piyush, I'm very sure that a lot of young people would want to come into this line and be an entrepreneur. I think the regulations is one key. Transparency will help people to actually come and play their game here.
Sure. Thanks, Srini. Pawan?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Srini that I think just about bringing that transparency part to the ecosystem will definitely help bring in a lot of talent.
Sure. Thanks, Pawan. Ram, you would want to take a shot?
So we can glamorize it enough, however we want to make it, but it is very hard to get the right human resource in real estate. I totally agree that yes, we have the whole transparency and we need to have those things, but to actually get the right professionals into this industry is, as developers, I feel incentivizing them to showing them where their future can go from where they are today and the kind of ladder that you can actually grow into. Because at the end of it, today's youth, if you may call it, or the person joining, they want to basically grow at a very fast pace. They has to be glamorous, has to be fast, and yet can't take away my work-life balance. That doesn't exist in our industry as much as we try. It doesn't exist. So I feel the people who would be interested in this is creating a lot of value addition for people who join you as a group.
Sure. Thanks, Ram. Parth, so I think it's a point of creating a right financial alignment with the team, or getting more talent or good talent.
So I'll tell you, when people come for interview in our organization, I tell them generally one kid's birth takes 9 months, but whoever is coming for interview, they want 9 kids in 1 month. So everybody has a 20-20 approach, and no, I'm not saying have a test match approach, but at least have a 50 over approach. So while Ram said attracting talent, retaining talent, and keeping them motivated, that they are not dead bodies sitting in the office, is a big challenge. I can promise you that. Two is, I think a lot is going to narrow down to the skill set of the management, that what is the 3-year, 5-year plan that the management can put in. Talking 10 years, 20 years doesn't make sense. 3 and 5-year plan, that how that person can grow intellectually as a hierarchy, and in terms of financial success, what is his roadmap, and expectation clarity is going to be very important, because we feel that people today are somewhere just getting cluttered in the KRA and the KPA process, and they lose the sight of what is expected out of that role. So I think it's going to be a big challenge to get the right bandwidth. But yes, we all have to work towards improving ourselves first, so we can attract better people.
Sure.
And of course, yeah, whatever we promise to the employee, we should also give. I think
Yes.
that is one more thing. That is one way. I have been a victim on that side, so I think that's very important.
I second you. I second you there.
Yeah. Mohit, your thoughts? And since Mohit, I know with Godrej Properties and had created some of the great structures. So your thoughts on kind of getting the right alignment and getting the best talent?
I think first of all at an industry level, then at a company level. So I've worked in HLL, I worked in Etikani, then joined real estate. I can tell you from experience that it is the most exciting industry you can work in as a professional. So really, from a quality of work, it is one of the best sectors to work for any MBA or any professional or engineer. I think the key challenges in the industry, which as an industry we need to solve, is corporate governance, because for professionals that is very, very important. The second element is culture. That is again extremely important for professionals when they work together. So I think these are the two aspects which at an industry level and then at a company level. I think financial incentives are more than sufficiently there in the industry. It's a highly profitable industry. And of course, the rewards are pretty commensurate for everyone. But I think culture and governance are really critical, Piyush.
Okay. Thanks, Mohit. Binitha, your last word on this?
I think everything has been covered, but I'll just say this. We had a conference where we had Saujibhai Dholakia come and talk to us of Hare Krishna. Okay.
Yeah.
And he said that the only way in which you can keep talent, grow talent, and build them is A, if you make them part of a larger family. B, if you give them a piece of the pie in terms of ownership. And third is to ensure that you take care of everything that an employee needs from the minute he steps into your office to the minute he goes back home, including his family. I think somewhere that needs to get imbibed more in the culture, more in the structures, and more in the mindset of developers. Today, everyone is a Superman and everyone is interested in running the business themselves. It takes a lot for someone to kind of go ahead and allow decision making and pass it down and do that. It's easy for me to say it also, but trust me, everyone on this panel will face it somewhere, and it doesn't happen. When you want to get professionals and get talent, you need to have the mindset to empower them and allow them to take those funds. And you need to find a distinction between what you will do and what they will do. Otherwise, everyone will go. No one will stay for long. And this was told to me by GIC. So that's why I'm just going to repeat and quote them. This is what the world needs.
No. Absolutely, Binitha. I think so. Our discussion today actually can go on. I think it's very free-flowing and very enriching discussion. But we are completely run out of time. Sapna, I'm not sure we have any time for questions. But thanks everyone once again. I think it's been a great session. Sapna, over to you.
Yeah, it was, at one point of time, it looked like I was listening to a family conversation rather than a panel discussion. So, and, one thing, everyone touched upon, all aspects of real estate and in the last also about how for new generation of professionals also. One thing, one question that is there is about the new generation of customers, how they are influencing real estate. As we all know, the population is getting younger and the customers demography is getting younger for real estate. So one sentence from everyone, how the new generation of customers are influencing real estate. Srini, going with you. You are the youngest in the panel, so.
Yeah, so I think, so Sapna, I think the more our customers are going to be the younger generation. So IoT is going to be something which it's going to be a part of real estate. No longer technology is going to be an add-on. So anything that you help them sitting in one place and getting all the things in one place is something which they will be looking at. Sustainability. I think the younger generation is very, very responsible as far as these things are concerned. Plus, again, there will be nuclear families. So maybe again, in a sustainable basis, it would be smaller homes that will be coming. You need to be rich with amenities. social media, you need to ensure that you protect yourself from the social media. Do good things so people talk good about you. And a lot of plug and play homes will come into fashion,
Okay.
because the
Okay.
younger generation definitely does not want to do the hard work of doing the interiors.
Okay.
So these are
Okay.
some of the thoughts that I have. Yeah.
Sustainability, technology, plug and play, homes and small homes is what Srinivasan say. That is how the new generation of customers is looking at. Binitha, your view, one sentence, how new generation of customer is looking
The
at.
next gen is definitely driving the way homes are being built, right? From, additional meeting room spaces to Zoom rooms to all of that tech-driven homes, ease of living. From ease of doing business, we are going into ease of living, where upfront you're able to bring it together. But a very large driver is communities. Nuclear
Okay.
families are being built, and that's why you have lots of community needs. So any strong community in a building is going to attract a great customer profile. And the next gen is only looking at getting into buildings which are communities. Shini, even we are hungry, yaar, humko bhi bhejo. But that apart, I think community building
Sorry,
and
guys.
homes where you have people coming together is a very important driver for it, because as much as the family bond used to be there between, joint families and multiple families, the next gen is more about friends, and is more
Okay.
about friends becoming families. So
Okay.
you won't be shocked where you would see a group of friends coming together and wanting to live in the same building, because that's where they want to kind of grow all together. So that's what's
Okay.
driving
Yes.
a lot of home buying as well.
So amenities and communities is what Binitha is saying. Piyush, your one sentence answer for this, how new generation of customer is impacting.
I think in last 3 years or so, we have seen the aspirations of next generation really changing. So I think they're sticking to their aspirations, with transparency and quality. I think this is what I think is need of the hour.
Okay, aspiration, quality, and is what Piyush is saying. Is what the new customer is looking at. Parth, what has been your experience for the new age customers?
Hi, Sapna. So I feel, yes, holistic living, how all the needs and requirement that one has can be met in the community or within the close purview is going to be an impactful decision making for choosing a right product. Two, uh, developers build stocks what is sold in the last 2 years. You cannot be known by your recent success. Rather than building what is sold in the last 2 years, COVID taught us how one bed, two bed was important, and then suddenly luxury boom happened pre-COVID post. So the agility towards understanding what is the need of the local micro market where you're building, rather than you're trying to build what has been good sales numbers for the last 2 years, is going to be a very big differentiator to ensure that you attract the right youth to buy your product.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, agility and understanding your customer as per the micro market that you plan to be
So
in.
it is like Virat Kohli. Last 2 centuries, he's made 100 centuries, but if last 2 matches he does not score well, he doesn't know how to play cricket. It's simple.
Okay, that's a good example, of course. Mohit, what do you have to add to that?
Yeah, I think the expectation levels will be much higher, especially people have been quite accepting about the things going wrong and very happy to get the houses as long as they're delivered. The new generation expectations are very different, both from product and service perspective.
Okay, so living up to the expectations, that's right. I think the young generation has a lot of expectations. Pawan, what do you have to say? How you are observing this new generation of customers?
Yeah, I think kind of I agree with the idea of community living. I think this generation is just not about having I think that was at least my generation. I know a lot of you are younger, but it's like having a roof is not enough, right? Having an idea in the community in which you're living, I think that's the obviously, because as a country there is so much of change which has happened, right? We have progressed as a country. So I think community living with an idea, right? Whether it's sustainability, whether it's green living, whether whatever it could be, but I think that's the thing which the young generation needs.
That's right. The new customer, they want more. It's just not the home anymore. I think what's
Absolutely.
around it is also matters to them. Ram, your last words, what What is your observation?
So for a younger generation of a customer, I think service is one of the most critical elements. Providing customization, providing that one step more than what anybody else is doing or what they would expect for. Flexible spaces. Plans can't be rigid; they have to be flexible. As what the earlier panelists were saying, today it's this, tomorrow it's that. I don't want to be stuck to something. I should be able to evolve. So creating flexibility in your product and creating another level of service, whether it's interior design service, whether it is a build service, whether it is a housekeeping service, there has to be a lot of service driven to your real estate.
Right. As everyone said, then they want more. So service is also another thing that they want more, and flexibility within their plan. Smart homes is what they are looking at. So fantastic panel. Now, after this panel, everyone is invited to Srinivasan's home for a quick lunch. So
Thank you.
So thank you so much, everyone, for being here, part of
Thank
this
you, Sapna.
session.
Thank you, everyone. Nice talking to you all.
And sharing your views. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
so much.
everyone.
guys.
Thank you so much.